All right, let's just jump right in. We're about to look at a way of building wealth that pretty much flips the script on the advice we've all been given our entire lives. And the big idea is simple, but it's powerful. Stop working so hard and start working smarter.
I know. That sounds completely backwards, right? But just hang with me for a minute. What if that one thing we've been told is the secret sauce to getting rich, just grinding, putting in more hours, is actually the very ceiling that's holding you back? That's the big provocative question we're going to tear into right now.
Hold on a second. If you're enjoying insights like this, hit the subscribe button right now. All right, let's jump into the most important part.
So, let's start by tackling this thing head on. I call it the hard work myth. This belief that if you just push harder and longer, your bank account will magically grow at the exact same rate. I mean, we've all had this drilled into our heads, haven't we? By our parents, our teachers, probably every boss we've ever had. Be the first one in, the last one to leave. Put your nose to the grindstone. It's a really simple formula, and to be honest, it sounds like it should work. And yet, here's the problem. We all know people, heck, maybe you are one of those people, who work their tails off. They are dedicated, they are talented, they put in all the hours, but their financial reality, it just doesn't seem to match the effort. It feels less like climbing a ladder and more like running on a hamster wheel.
So look, this isn't just a feeling. It's actually a systemic problem. It's something called the time for money trap, and it is the invisible wall that puts a hard limit on what most people can earn. And here's the bottom line. If you have a job where your paycheck is based on an hourly wage, or even a fixed salary for a 40-hour week, you're in this trap. Your ability to earn more money is directly, mathematically, chained to the time you can physically be on the clock.
And this visual just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, that's you. Your time, your energy, you can give it 100%. You can go all out. But then you look to the right, and your potential income just hits a brick wall. There's a cap, a ceiling you literally cannot break through, no matter how much harder you work.
And the logic here is just brutal and inescapable. You can't invent a 25th hour. You can't work around the clock 7 days a week without completely crashing and burning. See, time is the one resource you can't get more of. And when your entire income is tied to it, you're playing a game that has a built-in, unchangeable limit. So, if that's the trap, how in the world do you get out of it? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in how you think. Let's dig into what we call the rich person's mindset. And the secret is right there in the subtitle. The game isn't about earning, it's about owning. And this chart just lays the difference out so clearly. On one side, the employee is always asking, how can I get a 5% raise? Or how can I work more overtime? The entire goal is to make that paycheck bigger. But the owner, the investor, they're asking a totally different question. They're asking, how can I buy or build more things that make money for me? The focus isn't the paycheck, it's the thing that produces the paycheck. And let's be crystal clear on what we mean by asset here. It isn't just something that's valuable, like a piece of art. For our purposes, an asset is something that actively puts cash into your pocket. Think of it like a little money-making machine that you own, and it works for you. If there is one thing you take away from this section, let it be this. This is the question that unlocks an entirely different financial reality. It reframes the whole problem away from how hard you can work to how strategically you can build and acquire. Okay, so the mindset shift is huge, but it's just the start. What does this actually look like in the real world? This brings us to the strategy part, how you can actually build systems where money starts making more money. So the real goal here is to build systems that work for you instead of you working for them. That's how you finally break that chain between your time and your income. And the result is what people often call passive income. Now, let's be real, it takes a ton of active work to set it up. But once it's up and running, it creates value without you needing to be there every single second.
So what do these systems, these assets actually look like? Well, you've got the classic stuff, like investing in stocks that pay you dividends, or buying a rental property that brings in cash every month. But it can also be intellectual property. Think about it. You write a book once and it sells for years. You record an online course once and it helps people and pays you long after you're done. Or maybe it's building a business with such good systems and a great team that it can run and grow even when you're on vacation.
This is hands down the best way to think about it. Every day, you go to a traditional job. You're carrying a bucket of water from the river to the village. If you stop carrying, the village gets no water. Building an asset, on the other hand, is like building a pipeline. Yeah, it's a ton of work up front, but once it's built, that water flows 24/7, whether you're standing there or not.
And building one of these pipelines, it's not some magic trick. It's a process. It really boils down to this. First, you find a problem that people are willing to pay money to solve. Second, you create the solution, a product, a service, a system. Third, and this part is key, you figure out how to automate the delivery so it doesn't depend on you being there. And last, and this is absolutely crucial for real wealth, you take the profits and you use them to start building another pipeline.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but where on earth to even start? Let's talk about the very first and honestly the most important step you can take. It's all about making that mental switch, from thinking like a worker to starting to think like an owner. Now let's get something straight. This is not about being lazy. This is not about quitting your job tomorrow. The goal is way more strategic. It's about getting to a point where you are no longer 100% dependent on trading your time for money. Seriously, even if you just start with 1% of your income coming from an asset you built, that is a monumental win.
So really, the whole journey kicks off right between your ears. It's a perception shift. The next time you're out in the world, try not to just see things as a customer or an employee. Start asking yourself different questions. What's a problem here? Who owns the solution to that problem? Could I own a solution to a problem like that?
So, I want to leave you with this one final question to really chew on. Don't worry about 5 years from now. Just think about this month. It doesn't have to be some huge, grand thing. It could be buying a single share of a stock index fund. It could be writing the outline for an ebook on a sticky note. It could be sketching out a business idea on a napkin. What is just one small asset, one tiny pipeline that you can start building today?